Brush embroidery is a fun way to add a design onto a cake, and you can use it with buttercream or with rolled fondant. You're going to pick your shape and use either a cookie cutter or some other kind of template to mark your design on your cake, and then you're going to pipe over the edges. I'm using a tip number 3, but notice that I made 2 passes so that I have a pretty tall outline there, and then I'm going to take a barely damp decorator brush and I'm just going to pull the icing into the center to give kind of an embroidered look. This can be done on buttercream that has been crusted over, or it can be done on rolled fondant. If you're going to use a cookie cutter or a similar tool to emboss your design onto rolled fondant, make sure you do it before the fondant sets up. And if you want to make an interior petal for this little flower, I'm just going to do that freehand. It'll give it a little bit more dimension if you want to do that. And I'm just going to carry on and complete my flower using the same method. Remember, when you're tracing over something with icing, you don't want to drag the tip along the surface. You want to lift the tip up off the surface and let the icing fall where you want it. That gives you a little bit more control. And then again, when you're brushing with the brush embroidery method, make sure that your brush doesn't get too damp, because you don't want to just wash away the icing. This isn't actually a real cake that I'm demonstrating this technique on. It is a styrofoam cake form that I'm decorating as a display cake. So because it's not meant to be eaten and it's meant to be stable and last, I iced it with royal icing, and I did all the string work and the bead border and everything with royal icing, and I'm doing the brush embroidery on the top here with royal icing. If this were a real cake that was iced with buttercream, I would use buttercream to do the brush embroidery as well as all the other decorations. If you're doing brush embroidery on a cake that's covered with fondant, you could use either buttercream or royal icing. When using royal icing for this technique, be mindful of the fact that royal icing dries so quickly. So it's only practical to do one section at a time, which is why I'm only doing one petal at a time here. And I'm going to just finish off this inner row of petals. I'm doing it freehand because I don't have a cutter handy to give me any kind of template. And same method, I'm just going to use a barely damp brush to pull the icing in towards the center of the petal to give it more of a textured three-dimensional look. And for the center, I'm going to pipe kind of a blob of icing here, and then I'm going to stick a whole bunch of pink sugar pearls to it to make the flower center.